My name's Sav Manjan from FowlTalkers, and welcome to another episode of Talking Fowl 101. As you can see from behind me today, we're going to run you through some patterning. Patterning is possibly the most important aspect of duck hunting in terms of being able to know what your shotgun shells are doing out where the ducks are. So today we're going to run you through the whole concept. It's just going to be brief. It's going to be a basic patterning exercise. But back in 2012, I took part in a shotgunning education program trainer's course. So spent 9 days out in Tasmania and basically focused on ballistics and using steel on waterfowl. So we're going to run you through all the basics behind it, and then we're going to reference through to this lethality table. So that lethality table there, that's basically the Bible in terms of being able to reference what your shell pattern is doing with the ducks that you're trying to hunt. So what we've got set up here is just a pattern board. So we've got a base frame, and then we've got some packaging paper that we've put on top. So with patterning, what we want to do is basically get an idea of how the pattern is performing, how the shotgun shell is performing, and that shotgun shell will perform differently through each barrel and with any choke combination. So it's important that you do everything 3 times, and that basically allows you to take an average of those 3 and then get an accurate idea of what your shell is doing. So today what we're going to be doing is patterning at 30 metres. Generally speaking, you're shooting over decoys and using duck calls. The ducks, you can work them in quite close. So we sort of don't stretch our shots much past 30 metres. So that's where we're going to be doing our patterning, as our sort of max effective range. So we're going to shoot this pattern board once with a choke and load combination. We'll talk you through all that. But then after we've shot that, we're going to come back to this board and we're going to mark it with a 30-inch circle. So this is quite a handy piece of kit, I guess. It's just a 30-inch perspex, and we'll talk you through it. But we're basically going to, once the shot is up there, we're going to pattern it over the area where there's the densest concentration of pellet strikes, and then we're going to mark the 30-inch circle on that then. So that's, I guess, the misconception, definitely for me before I did the course, that you draw the 30-inch circle after you've shot the shell, not before, because at 30 metres, and even if you're patterning out to 40 or 50 metres, a minor movement can throw you out of a 30-inch circle. So you don't want to mark a 30-inch circle and aim at the centre of that. You want to shoot at the reference point and then mark a 30-inch circle. So we'll go back and we'll step you through the process as it unfolds. Alright, so we've got the pattern board set up. We've come back to 30 metres. Like I said, we're going to do things 3 times. So I'm going to shoot that pattern board. I'm going to go take the pattern sheet down, put another one up, shoot it again, go and take it down, put another one up and shoot it again. And that's going to be our 3 shots at this pattern board. We're using the 32 gram 1 1/8 ounce really, size 4 in steel. We're using it through the bottom barrel, and we're running through a modified choke or a half choke. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go put the second pattern sheet up, shoot that, come back and do the 3rd one, and then we'll measure them all out all at once at the end. Alright, so we've shot our 3 pattern sheets. Now basically what we're going to do is the nuts and bolts of it, where it all really matters, I guess. So we've got this 30-inch circle that we were talking about earlier, and basically this is this is the business end of it all. So what we'll do is, first up, we're going to write down exactly what we've just done. So in this case, it was a Steel Max, 32 gram, number 4 at 30 metres through a modified choke. So basically you've got your 30-inch circle, and what you want to do is get the densest concentration of pellet strikes in this 30-inch circle. So this is where you draw it on after the fact, if you like. So sort of place that there. Sort of looks like you're getting most of them about there, to be honest. So that looks like it's got the most pellet strikes. There's a couple outside it, but most of them are definitely within the 30-inch circle. So basically, at this point, we mark this circle. That's a 30-inch circle there. Now I've got all these pellet strikes. We're just going to go through and count them all and get an idea exactly how many pellet strikes are inside this 30-inch circle, and then we can reference everything to the lethality table that we've got. So we just simply mark them off as you go. So the results are in. We've got 30-inch circles and pellet strikes marked out on these 3 pattern sheets that we fired at before. So the results are 168, 172 and 170 pellet strikes. So what we've done, well, what you do now is take the average of those 3, which in this case is 170, and that's what we can say with some degree of certainty is the number of pellet strikes in a 30-inch circle when you're shooting a 32 gram number 4 Steel Max through a modified choke. So if we go across to the lethality table now. Alright, so this is the lethality table. It was put together by an American guy by the name of Tom Roster, basically on 30 years of research into American waterfowl and shooting with steel shot. He did quite a fair bit of work with the Game Management Authority in terms of adapting it for Australian waterfowl. So I'm just going to talk you through quickly, I guess, what it all actually means. So this is just your typical shooting range of activity in metres. Your most effective steel shot size for that activity, your minimum load weight in ounces and grams, and then one of the most important things, I guess, is the minimum pellet hits needed on lethal areas for clean kills. And then where all this ties in together is really the minimum pattern count needed at the distance to effect a clean kill. So when I say effect a clean kill, I mean attaining that 1 to 2 pellet strikes on a vital area. And then as a suggestion, there's also the most effective chokes. Now down the side here, we have all the different types of birds that can be used. So I guess for all intents and purposes and the exercise that we've just done, we sort of come within in this range here, from black ducks over decoys all the way to small ducks over decoys. So this area through here, mountain duck over decoys, 20 to 40 metres also, but suggested pellet size is a size 3. Whereas for black duck, hardhead, wood duck and teal, shoveler and pink ear, all the other game species in Victoria anyway, your suggested shot size is from a size 4 to a size 6. So you can see that we fall within all of those bands. The minimum load weight suggested is 28 to 36, from 24 to 28 and 24 to 28. So we're well within that range, having 32 gram loads that we've used. They're the minimum pellet strikes on vital areas. So 1 to 2 pellet strikes on vital areas. And in order to get to that pellet strike, you really need to be getting in a 30-inch circle this number of pellet strikes. So 115 to 120 at a minimum. And on black ducks over decoys, 85 to 90 pellet strikes in that 30-inch circle. Now, as you saw, we averaged out 170 pellet strikes in a 30-inch circle, so we're well above all of these minimums that are required. So in terms of, I guess, how that relates, I guess we're very happy with this load and shell combination. All right, so it's important when you're patterning that you use the lethality table as a guide, I guess, or an indication of what your pattern's doing and how it's going to perform out in the field when you are shooting. In this case, we were really happy with the results. 170 pellet strikes as an average. I guess it puts us in good stead for any sort of hunting in that 30 metre range where we're shooting effectively over decoys. So today was a good result for us. In the event that it wasn't quite what we were after and we were trying to get to those numbers and suggestions in this lethality table, you have a variety of options available to you. Basically, you can open up or tighten or open your chokes, and you can also look at changing your pellet size or your load weight. A copy of the lethality table, you can get that in the it's a guide to becoming a better game bird hunter that's been issued by the GMA. You can always call them up and get the info from them in terms of that lethality table, and it's a really good handbook as well for anyone that wants to go and get into game bird hunting or sharpen up, I guess, in game bird hunting. So that's the basics of a pattern. Like I said right at the start, it's probably the most important thing in terms of the final shot when it comes to duck hunting. Decoys and calling and everything else, it's all well and good, but if you can't finish that bird when it comes into the decoy spread, then you really need to get into the field and do some patterning. if you follow the suggestions in the lethality table, you will find that you'll dramatically increase your rate of clean kills and instant kills, which is always good. Whether you're retrieving yourself or you've got a dog, the easier the better. So an overall summary with patterning shotgun shells, you've got to do everything at least 3 times. 3 times out of the same shell, same choke and same distance. Have your reference point on your pattern sheet when it's on the board. That's something to aim at, but it's not the be all and end all. And then you mark your 30-inch circle on your pattern sheet at the end after the shot has been taken. From there, count out your pellet strikes, average it out across the 3, and then refer to your lethality table and see how that shell's performing and what it's capable of at the distance that you're shooting at. I hope you found all this information useful. I hope you get a chance to get out in the field and actually and go through with some patterning. It'll change your hunting and your effectiveness as a duck hunter. So good luck and all the best for the coming season.